There's also been a great deal of focus on how politicians responded to the tragedy online. An article by The Atlantic says people on Twitter were prayer shamming the GOP candidates for their posts online.
They pointed out that while Democrats tweeted about the need for gun control, Republicans tweeted their thoughts and prayers. Emma Green is the author of that piece, and she joins us now from Washington. She's also the managing editor for TheAtlantic.com. Emma, I took a look at your piece, and, we've already seen several major mass killings this year, and then the traditional, immediate political reaction. But is there something different about the reaction this time around?
I think it was a very quick condemnation of prayer, which stands in contrast to the way that these reactions have unfolded in the past. It seemed to emerge either from tweets from liberal publications or even from publications like the New York Daily News, which ran a cover story saying God isn't fixing this, that there was a dichotomy between prayer and political action, which isn't true.
Specifically, you had Democrats and some newspapers, the Daily News cover, for instance, say enough with the prayer, time for action. Carly Fiorina talked about the San Bernardino shooting on Fox News this morning. Let's take a listen to that first.
The left wing is terrified of the truth, terrified of our values. And by the way, the left wing is terrified of me. It's all about their ideology, their prescriptions, government taking over for everything, for religion, for family, for common sense, for good judgment. Everything points to a terrorist attack, a homegrown terrorist attack. We can't prejudge the investigation, but it sure looks like Islamic extremism and terrorism to me. That's what it looks like. Now, we'll see what the FBI comes up with, but you have Muslims who clearly planned an attack. I think the only thing that's throwing the FBI off a little bit probably is the fact that this wasn't a suicide attack. This is a new kind of attack. These are people who clearly wanted to survive the attack. Sure. They were prepared to survive the attack.
Emma, what do you make of Fiorina's reactions?
Well, I think on the one hand, she certainly is characterizing one reaction that came from the left, which was an immediate backlash against people who were calling for thoughts and prayers. But on the other hand, there are some false dichotomies in what she's talking about. There are many people on the left who are religious. There are many people on the right who care about gun control. It's not so clearly black and white as she's describing it to be. I think, moreover, it's important to keep in mind that there's much that's still not known about the suspects and their motivations and the reason for the attacks. And in the coming days and weeks, we'll know much more and be able to understand it more fully.
I found it curious that in your article, you call it prayer shaming. Is it shaming, or are people maybe fed up of what just sounds like empty words and platitudes?
I think there's a mistake in the thinking that says if somebody offers prayers for San Bernardino or they're calling for people to pray for the victims, that that's somehow different or mutually exclusive from taking political action. The prayer itself can be a form of political action. There's a long history in the United States of civil rights advocacy, for example, that's deeply rooted in religious institutions and organizations. I do think it's a form of shaming. It's a mass condemnation of people who express themselves through prayer at a time of tragedy.
All right, Emma Green from TheAtlantic.com in Washington, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks for having me.